Peace, family. It's your brother Mike X. Just wanted to drop this quick message, man, and speak my mind on election night. November 6th, 2018. And speak on some of the things that I've been hearing, you know. And I don't want to be abrasive or speak disparagingly, about anyone, for believing what they believe or going along with, the propaganda, that's being pushed, in the media right now. But I do want to give you another way to look at what's happening in the world, man, and shine some light on what has to happen if we are to get more out of voting or even living than we're getting right now. There are a lot of family members, black folk, who I guess are afraid, of what's going on in the world. And what are you saying, brother Mike? You not afraid? I think, sometimes when I lose focus on my belief that there is a God that's more powerful, man, than white supremacy, that's more powerful than black inferiority, that's more powerful, man, than Trump, that's more powerful than the powers that be, as a human being, I see what's going on in the world, and I see my people being turned into savages with no love of themselves or, others amongst us. I see a lot of self-hatred. I see a lot of, murder and mayhem, creeping into more and more into black/African people in the black/African neighborhoods, the people of color, where we reside, and so sometimes when I focus more on the negativity, I start to backslide sometimes into being a little fearful for the future. But due to the fact that, I've been conscious a long time, and due to the fact that I know that energy flows where your attention goes, I know that when I begin to feel a little bit more fearful, that damn, I know that I'm beginning to wander off the path of knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and truth. You know what I mean? That demands that not only do I pursue the truth and pursue a discernment, of higher truths, but that I also have to commit myself to walking out my faith with fear and trembling, to keep focused on taking those personal individual steps that have gotten me this far. So my life is not exactly the way I want it to be, but it's definitely better than what it has been. And that if I continue to seek the truth and continue to seek to align myself with the highest truth that I can comprehend as an individual in every given moment, staying on the path and using that knowledge, man, to apply it to healing this body temple, from years of abuse, man, caught up in the ignorance, man, that this world, that this system promotes to keep us from growing and reconnecting, to the source from which we come, the creator, the all-powerful, mind, that created everything, which has imparted to us the ability to recreate our lives however we want to recreate them. This system seeks to disconnect us from that belief and from that knowing and from those habits and customs that will allow us to overcome any worldly corruption, you know what I mean, and bigotry and prejudice, which will allow us to not only recreate our lives and our environment, our ciphers, you know what I mean, with our friends, our family, our neighbors and loved ones, but it seeks to make us believe, man, that we have no other choice but to suffer comfortably and hope against hope, man, that somebody else is going to change our environments and our lives for us. Thus, my only choice, man, is I got to vote. I got to put all of my hope into voting, you know, for somebody else to come and change things for me. Yeah, they may not, you know, absolutely have, you know, love, you know, or appreciation or respect, but hopefully, man, they're good enough to where they'll break me off a crumb here and there. You know what I mean? Like, that's no way to live, man. But this is the way a lot of us are living right now. And so I've seen on social media today, man, a lot of people, you know, again, man, putting all of their faith and hope in the vote. And saying things like, yo, I voted, did you? You know? And it seems like, you know, claiming like a superiority, you know? Like, I've heard things like, if you didn't vote, then you can't speak about politics. And that's absolutely 1000% not true. Because as a matter of fact, a lot of people, you know, politics is about policies, you know, and, you know, what is the policy in this neighborhood? What is the policy, man, on schools? What is the policy on jobs? What is the policy on safety? You know what I mean? And we should never divorce ourselves, man, from the day-to-day responsibility to know as much as we can about those things. Safety, you know, schooling of our children, you know, economics and job creation. Like, a lot of us, we got more work to do than we think that we have. It's a mistake, a grave mistake, to think that all you got to do is go in a booth once every 4 years, or every 2 years, or every 6 years, depending upon what the election is, you know, federal, state, wide, or city, or local. You know, there's different points in time. Some of them are 4 years, some 2, some 6. But it's a grave mistake, man, for you to think that you can live however you want to live. And you could be as ignorant as you want to be about the schooling of your children, about job creation, you know, about managing, you know, the safety of the neighborhoods, the policing of your neighborhoods, and expect that these things are going to go your way. All I got to do is vote once every 4 years, or every 2 years, or every 6 years. It's a grave mistake to be living like that. And then on top of that, you know, to brag about it, you know, to brag about the fact that, you know, a lot of times that you haven't been involved in knowing as much as you can about these critical issues, but all you did is vote. So then you step to someone, you know, like myself, and I'm going to say this as humbly as possible, man, but it's the truth. I've been doing the knowledge, man, for almost 30 years now, you know. I've been seeking knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and truth to strive to apply it to my life so that I can be the strongest, the best, black man that I could be, man. And yeah, I've made plenty of mistakes, man, and I haven't always been on top of my game, but I'm still here. And I have a track record. You know what I mean? I have a track record of not just doing the knowledge, man, but sharing the knowledge as much as possible. I have a track record, man, of working with our youth, man, for nearly 30 years. I have a track record, man, of being somewhat of a community organizer and being involved in local grassroots politics and participating, in the school board and participating in, the community boards and, and not just participating in those city and state funded community enterprises, which are supposed to give community people an opportunity to participate in the schooling of their children and how things are run in their local neighborhoods, man. A lot of that stuff decided by the local community boards and such, but also being someone who has, been an independent, organizer, to strive to bring people together in the local project development, man, that I grew up in, Eden Wall houses, located in the Northeast Bronx, the third largest project development in New York City. I have a track record, man, of striving to bring people together and introducing people to one another and helping people to know that their lives are precious. That we have power as individuals, man, when we commit ourselves, man, to seeking and aligning ourselves with the highest truth that we can comprehend, that we can have positive impact over our individual lives. And when we commit ourselves to that process, it allows us to show up in the best possible shape in our relationship with outside individuals, man. And when you have, individuals who are committing themselves to the highest truth that they can comprehend, and they are healing themselves and regenerating themselves and redeeming themselves, and when they come together, now we have social power that will allow us to go into politics, voting or lobbying, you know what I mean? It allows us to go, that social power allows us to go into group economics, to where we can stand together as a united group of consumers and say, yo, we represent 5,000 educated consumers. And we're going to hold your business accountable. You know what I mean? But I don't want to digress that far. I want to get back to this thing of voting. And again, I want to be as unabrasive as possible, But I do have to say, wow, when somebody steps to me and says, and wants to challenge me, did you vote today? You know what I mean? And I say, like, yo, what if I didn't vote today? On November 6th, 2018. But I can point to, for the last almost 28 years, that I have been responsible, man, and striving to live this life to the best possible, to the best of the best level that I could, in the best possible way, to spread knowledge, to spread wisdom, to spread understanding, to spread the light of love and truth amongst the family. Again, so that we can heal ourselves of believing that we are inferior as black people, believing that we can do nothing for ourselves. which puts us in a position of dependency on outside individuals and outside interests to control us and control our neighborhoods. I've done the best that I can, man, to be a light of hope, a light of faith, man. You know what I mean? And a lot of the people who's talking about and trying to challenge, you know, other people, and particularly someone like myself, did you vote today? A lot of you have been negligent, you know, on taking advantage of your opportunity and your ability, man, to do the knowledge yourself, to seek a relationship with, again, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and truth. You know, to be responsible, to separate yourself from the powerlessness of ignorance, man, which makes you and makes us dependent, again, upon outside interests that really a lot of times don't even love us. And it's not just about black and white. Because I grew up in and still live in a neighborhood, man, where the local seats, representative seats, the city council, the state senate, the state assembly, all three of those offices have been dominated, man, by black people for the last 30 years, man. But those seats, and some people might get mad at me for saying this, man, but those seats have not done right, man, by the black community. Those seats, by and large, have been impotent and using the power that's supposed to be inherent in those seats of so-called governance. It's been impotent. It hasn't been translated or transmuted into helping us to carve out a legitimate black neighborhood or black neighborhoods that can boast of the same type of power that Chinatown boasts, or boast the same type of power, man, that Little Italy boasts, or boast the same type of power and control and stability, man, that the Jewish neighborhoods boast. Other racial ethnicities have shown us the way a community is supposed to be run. How the people are able to unite themselves on a social level and use the power of their unity to strengthen their political might so that they can advocate and fight to dominate their neighborhoods with policies that promotes the uplift and the overall good of the people who live in that community, to where they can use the unity, the power of their social unity to use their collective consumer power, their commerce, to dominate the economics in their neighborhoods, to where they're not begging anybody for jobs, but they're providing jobs for themselves by controlling the economic foundation, the stores, the businesses that operate in their neighborhoods. We're not doing none of that. As a matter of fact, there ain't no we. And I've said this thousands of times. There's no we. And because there's no we, because there's no real community, there's no common unity, there's no communing, there's no, we're just neighbors, who live in the same neighborhood. We're just people who live amongst each other. And most of the time we don't even talk with one another. So voting, which could be used in a powerful way if we were, building those relationships of love and trust, amongst each other, if we really was a we, that would give us the power to use the vote in a more powerful way, or use our collective consumer dollars in a more powerful way. We're not able to do that, man. So I'm not going to go too long on this, man. We're already at 20 minutes. I want to say again, I'm not saying that the vote doesn't count. But I do want to say this. Our people didn't die just for us to be able to vote. You know, just to be able for us to just say and wear stickers and create memes and say, I voted today, did you? Our people didn't fight and die, man, just so we could wear stickers, man. Our people didn't fight and die so that we can, you know, be in some of these political races, man, but come so far from, you know, winning that it doesn't even matter that you voted. And let me say this, man. Recent history should tell us, man, that it's not just about voting. You know, let's not forget that we had 8 years of a black president, you know, Barack Obama. And let us not forget that it wasn't just good enough for us to vote, because other communities took it farther than the vote. They actually, after they voted, they actually lobbied and put pressure on Barack Obama for him to respond to planks, to items on the agenda that they had for him. You know what I mean? The gay community, and I say this and I'm trying to be, I don't want nobody coming at me, man, but yo, the truth is the truth. You know, the gay community was able to organize themselves and make Barack Obama respond to planks on their agenda. And Barack Obama said to the black community, first of all, he said that I'm not the president of Black America. I'm the president of the United States of America. And if you want me to respond to some of your righteous causes, that you have to make me do it. You have to make me do it. The same way the gay community made Barack Obama respond, you know, by lobbying, by showing up, by putting their money, you know, where their mouth was. And their, you know, their social unity and their money and their votes, you know, all together. And made Barack Obama answer to some of the things that they wanted done. We got to be able to do the same thing, or else it'll just be memes and stickers, you know? And the emotional, you know, good feeling of being able to see somebody that looks like you in the office, but not getting a whole lot more than that. Specific to your community, specific to, you know, things that you need, you know, schools that will teach us about our glorious past, about our history, man, so that when we go to school, we can feel proud about being black, about being people of color, about being African. You know what I mean? About, you know, so that we're not running out of the schools, man, because we're being taught how we never amounted to anything. You know, this is why the kids is dropping out of school, man, because the curriculums a lot of times are not helping them to feel good about themselves. So I don't want to hear all that. You know, I was just a slave, or, you know what I mean? So a lot of times we drop out. I'm a more serious student, man, outside of school than I was when I was inside of school. And the main difference, it wasn't that I couldn't read. It wasn't that I couldn't commit myself to being educationally excellent. It's just that the curriculum that was being taught was one of self-defeat, of slavery, of dependency. The curriculum didn't speak to my greatness as a black man. It didn't speak to our greatness as a black people. You know what I mean? So I was cutting class a lot of times, and I was doing other things. And I believe in my heart of hearts, man, that if we was to have schools that taught us about our greatness, our historic greatness, that more of our children would commit themselves to being educationally excellent. Not just so they can wait for the system to provide them with jobs, but so they would be going to school to learn trades and skills so that they can rebuild the black community into, little Africa. You know what I mean? So family, I said a lot. And again, I'm not trying to be offensive, but I am challenging us, man, that we have to begin to be more responsible, than thinking that, showing up at a voting booth once every 4 years is the best that we can do, man, to take control of our lives and to take control of our communities so that we can rebuild them and rebuild, the schools, rebuild, the economics and business and commerce, man, so that we can control the businesses in our neighborhoods, so that we can offer, jobs and economic opportunities to the people who live there, so that we can begin to create places that you can actually have some type of love and respect and appreciation in. Why are a lot of these black neighborhoods run down and messed up until the gentrifiers come and buy up the block, and then they begin to rebuild it, and then they start pushing you out and they take over traditionally black neighborhoods? Why? The reason why we don't have love and respect for our neighborhoods because we don't own those neighborhoods. We know that other people have more say-so in our neighborhoods than we have. And because of that, we don't treat our neighborhoods with the type of appreciation, love, and respect that these neighborhoods need, man, so that they can give back to us what we're investing into the neighborhoods. We got to do better, family. We got to do better, man. And it's amazing how quickly time flies, man. I wasn't intending to be speaking, man, for 28 minutes, and counting, on this. And as usual, family, a lot of times, man, I speak with a lot of passion. And I'm speaking from the heart. And I don't have any list of points that I want to make, to keep me on the path that I really wanted to touch on tonight. So I've spoke about a lot of different things, but particularly I wanted to speak tonight, man, about it has to be more than just voting. You know what I mean? And we got to have faith in the things that we say we believe in. A close family member of mine's, man, I saw where they put up, vote like your very life depends on it. Family, do we really believe in the ancestors? Do we really believe in the Most High God of whatever name you want to call him? Jehovah, Yahweh, El, Jesus, you know what I mean? God, Jah, Rastafari, whatever. Do we really believe in God? Do we really believe that we are a chosen people? Because if we do believe that we are a chosen people, we got to start to act like we're a chosen people. and not be walking around all broken down and defeated, man, and thinking that voting is the best that we can do. Once every 4 years, that's the best that we can do. And hope against hope, man, that somebody who likes us, even if it's just a little bit, will get elected, man, so that they can do something for us that we still are refusing to do for ourselves, man. We got to have more faith than that, family. And again, energy flows where your attention goes. So continue to seek the truth of your existence. Continue to seek the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the truth on what it takes to rebuild a vibrant personal life, to heal your physical body of the ailments, of the disease and the toxicity, man, that is connected to this system, man, of feeding us all the wrong foods, man. Disconnect yourself, man, for participating in ratchet TV and ratchet radio that has us hating ourselves, man, and has us, is raising our children on lust and sexuality and perversion. Disconnect yourself from that, man, and get back into the information, into the books, get back into the rituals and the customs, that helped to create giants amongst us, man, like the Marcus Garveys and the Elijah Muhammads and the Malcolms and the Sojourner Truths and the Shirley Chisholms, and the Fannie Lou Hamers. Reconnect yourself to the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding, the truth of our greatness, man, and begin to commit yourself from disconnecting from being inferior and being down and out and being broken and being sad. You know what I mean? And walk in that power so that your children can see that we indeed have power as a people. They'll see it through you if you can commit yourself to showing it to them. You know what I mean? So now I'm at 32 minutes and I said I was going to sign off. So I'm going to sign off now, man. I'm praying, man, that somebody hears me and somebody feels me. You know what I mean? And I tell you this, man, even if no one hears me or feels me on what I've been talking to you about for over half an hour now, I'm going to continue as long as I have breath in this body, man. I'm going to continue, man, to strive to do better, to strive to disconnect myself, from, what do you call that? A cycle, a cycle that's playing out in so many black neighborhoods across this country, a cycle of pessimism, a cycle of despair, a cycle of dependency, man, on others to do something for us that we should be able to do for ourselves, and I'm not going to pass that cycle. I'm not going to pass that legacy on, to the youth, I can't do that, man. So having said that, man, I say peace and love to the family. I hope that you are encouraged by what I shared with you tonight. I hope that I haven't been too abrasive. I definitely wasn't striving to offend anyone, but once again, to encourage you to know, man, that there's an alternative, a better alternative to the way that we've merely been existing. We can begin to live and love in the light of truth. We can become empowered, man. We can turn our neighborhoods into, communities that we can have a healthy love and respect for. The black village can be reformed. So having said that, man, peace and elevation. One love. Brother Mike X. Peace.